This is question number 12 in the June 2014 non-calculator paper. There's a lot of text in here, so take care, read through it all, and make sure you understand what they're talking about and asking you to work out. You can change temperature from Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius using this formula. Fahrenheit, or F, is the temperature in Fahrenheit degrees. C is the temperature in degrees Celsius. The minimum temperature in an elderly person's home should be 20 degrees. So I may well be using that in a bit. Mrs. Smith is an elderly person. The temperature in Mrs. Smith's home is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Decide whether or not the temperature in Mrs. Smith's home is lower than the minimum temperature that it should be. So, in other words, F is equal to 77. I need to convert 77 degrees Fahrenheit into Celsius and to see whether it's more or less than 20. So I'm going to use this formula that they've given us. C is equal to 5 brackets F minus 32 all over 9. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the F with 77. 5 brackets 77, take away 32, and divide the whole thing by 9. Now I just need to work out what 77 take away 32 is. Let's make sure you can see that. 77 take away 32. 7 take away 2 is 5. 7 take away 3 is 4. So that's 45 inside the bracket. So that's 5 times 45 over 9. Well, I know 9 could go into 45 5 times, and 9 could go into 45 5 times. So I'm going to do 5 times 5. My answer is going to be 25. Now there's a star next to this question. I should have pointed that out earlier. Just over here, there's a star. So they want me to write a sentence as part of my answer. There are 3 marks available for this as well. So I reckon I've done enough with my workings so far. I now need to actually write a sentence for my answer to make sure that I get everything that I need, or full marks for this question. Okay, so the minimum temperature an elderly person's home should be is 20 degrees. In this person's home, it is 25. So decide whether or not the temperature in Mrs. Smith's home is lower than the minimum temperature it should be. So what I'm going to say is the temperature in Mrs. Smith's home is not lower than it should be. Okay, you could say that it's higher than it should be. You could say it's not lower than it should be, right? But as long as you interpret what the temperature is and make sure you give an accurate interpretation and write a sentence at the end, you will pick up that final mark. Okay, so there's 3 marks for that. Make sure you can do it. Looking at part B now says make F the subject of the formula, and they've given you back that expression that we used earlier. Okay, making the subject of the formula means rearranging it so that at the end we're going to write F is equal to and present our answer. Now the best way of doing this, of working out or rearranging this, one of the best ways is to use a flow diagram. So I'm going to start off with F. Inside the brackets, what am I doing? I am taking away, the first thing I'm doing is take away 32. Then I'm going to times by 5. And then the whole lot is being divided by 9. All of that gives me C. Okay, so that's a flow diagram to describe this whole equation. I'm going to now do it backwards. C, and what's the opposite of dividing by 9? It's timesing by 9. The opposite of timesing by 5 is dividing by 5. And the opposite of taking away 3 is adding, not 3, 32. Adding 32. And so that is going to give me my answer. And I arrive at my answer by looking at this. C times 9 is 9C. If I divide by 5, that's going to look like this, 9C over 5. And then add 32, 9C divided by 5, add 32. And that's what I'm going to write here, 9C divided by 5, add 32. And that's my result for that part. That's 3 marks. It's pretty straightforward, right? You should be able to do it. You should be able to understand that particularly well. And questions of this sort, make sure you use a flow diagram. Take your time, right? Especially at this stage, make sure you are able to do it.